Hello, everyone, and welcome to NEC TV's Game of the Week. Tonight from the Augusta Civic Center, it's Western Maine Class B semifinal round action for the girls as the #1 York Wildcats take on the #4 Kennebunk Rams. Hey, everybody, I'm Eric Nelson along with Bob Gould tonight. And Bob, we've got a Ram team playing against York. York has beaten them twice during the regular season. 11 points first time around at York, and they went to Kennebunk and beat them by 7.
Yeah, but they're both good ball games, and this Kennebunk team has really played some good games against some quality opponents. Lost by only 1 to Marshwood during the year, lost to Trait by a couple of points, so that they've proven that they can play with the lead of the league.
Yeah, there have been, if you look at the box scores, in both of those games, there's one thing that really pops out at you.
That sure does, and that's the free throw line. In that first ball game, the York Wildcats won by 11, and in that ball game, they outshot Kennebunk by 9 points in that free throw in that game. The other game that they played in the second ball game was a 50-43 contest, 7-point ball game. In that game, 7 points from the free throw line that York outscored them. That's one of the stats that we looked at. The other startling stat that you look at, all you have to do is look at the box score underneath, and you look at the first quarter. And in the first quarter of the first ball game, York outscored Kennebunk by a score of 22-4. And that really was the difference in that ball game. And in the second game, they outscored them. York outscored Kennebunk 18-3. So in those 2 quarters, York is totally dominated. But in the other 6 quarters of the ball games, it's been Kennebunk who, in fact, has outscored York in those contests.
If there's any advantages for the Rams coming into this game, I think is one, it's tough for a team to beat another team 3 times during a season. And I think Kennebunk may have played better in their quarterfinal round game than York did. Kennebunk manhandled Gorham in the quarterfinals, 58-40. Now, York beat Mountain Valley by 22, 52-32. But even Rick Clark admitted that there was a stretch in that game where they didn't play well.
Well, that's a good point, Eric. And I think the point obviously is that York, you wonder if they can get up for Kennebunk like they need to get up because of the 2 wins that they had during the regular season and the fact that they weren't up for their first game. So they're going to need to turn it up a notch. They cannot play like they did in that first ball game, and I think and expect to come out here with a victory. You have to remember one key thing for Kennebunk that they have coming in here. Mikariz did not play in the last game against York. And now here's a player who is the top scorer and the top rebounder, averaging 18.3 points and 16 rebounds a game. She did not play in that last game. It was only a 7-point ball game. York may have forgotten that, but Kennebunk hasn't.
Yeah, pressure, Bob, will obviously be a key with the way those first quarters have gone.
No question about it. Kennebunk has to be able to handle the pressure. Talking to Coach Hanson prior to the game, his team needs to be able to handle pressure. One thing you may see is the big girls, Allison Booth, trying to bring the ball up the court for Kennebunk. If they cannot handle the pressure, if they cannot get through the first quarter or get out of the first quarter alive, then obviously York has a big advantage. However, if this is a close ball game after 1 or at the half, watch for Kennebunk.
Very interesting. Also, one thing that Rick Clark noted to us during the week, they have 3 big girls. Kennebunk has 2. It's tough to match up there. He feels his guards are a little better, too.
He does feel he has advantage at guards, and Coach Hanson doesn't disagree. He said the big advantage, obviously, is the inexperience factor. Kristen Briggs, a big advantage factor. The fact that Brown's played all year, or Weaver's played all year for him has been a big advantage. And Martell, the way she came off the bench, that was a big advantage. So, yes, they have an advantage at the guards. I don't think there's any question about that. But again, this is a ball game that is going to be highly on emotions. And I think maybe Kennebunk is playing on the fact, hoping that they just won their first game that they've ever won in the tournament, that they're going to come in here sky high playing a big game, and that maybe York is looking ahead. Because Marshwood just won. Maybe they're looking ahead to Marshwood.
Okay, let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. And here's a little conversation also with York Wildcat head coach Rick Clark.
The York Wildcat girls team defeated Mountain Valley 54-32 in the quarterfinal round, and today they will play #4 Kennebunk in the semifinals. Let's meet tonight's starting lineup. At the point guard position, number 23, senior Kristen Briggs, who had 8 points against Mountain Valley. Starting at the other guard position is junior Jonna Weaver, who had 9 points in the quarterfinal round game, 7 of them coming in the second half. Starting at one of the forward positions is sophomore Andrea Little, who also had 9 points against Mountain Valley. At the other forward position is senior Laura Coughlin, who finished out the trio with also 9 points against the Falcons in the quarterfinals. And starting at center tonight is sophomore Joanna Brown, who played well and scored 7 against Mountain Valley. And 2 players off the bench who big games are expected from. Jessica Martell, a sophomore, had 12 points against Mountain Valley and was 6 for 6 from the free throw line. And a junior who a lot is expected out of tonight is Kathleen Byrne, who had 2.4 points a game this season and 3 rebounds per game. And the head coach of the Wildcats in his 10th season, Rick Clark. I talked to Rick about the win over Mountain Valley and the game against Kennebunk.
Rick, against Mountain Valley, 54-32 win in the quarterfinal round, a game that looked pretty easy from a spectator's viewpoint. Your assessment of how well you played, did you play as well as you would like to have in that game?
Well, I don't think we played as well as we can. We had spurts where we played like we want to play. 19 points in a quarter is always nice, and defensively, I think throughout the game we did pretty well. But we had about a 8-minute dead spot at the end of the second quarter and the start of the third quarter that, you know, we can't afford to have against a real good team. I don't think we scored any points for 6 or 7 minutes in a row. Didn't look like we were really focused on what we were doing. We picked up again and, you know, won going away. So that's always nice. But yeah, I'd like to get rid of that 8 minutes of dead time.
In any tournament, Rick, you're going to have to, you need some input and some productivity out of your bench people, and Jessica Martell certainly gave you that.
Well, she did. She had a great game, 10 points in the second quarter, and more importantly, she always gives us a good defensive effort, but just adding those points here and there and everywhere really helps. Great foul shooting. Yeah, something we don't do very often.
It was nice to see that, too. You get Kennebunk, a team you've already played twice during the regular season, an 11-point win first time around, 7-point win second time around. You look at the box scores, and the first quarter tells the story. 22-4 in the first game, 18-3 in the second game. Obviously, it seems like the number one word is going to be pressure in this game.
Well, we've got to put the kind of pressure on them we have in the past and make the big girls come out and play defense. You know, try to draw some fouls on them would be nice, but basically we've got to play our game and do what we do right. And if we concentrate on those things, you know, hopefully we'll have another good start.
Now, they have a couple of big girls who can match up with 2 of your 3 big girls, but you seem to feel that your guard play could be very important. That's where we have an advantage.
Well, I think they probably have the 2 best big girls of anybody we see, but as you said, first of all, I think we can negate them with our 3 big girls, and then it comes down to your guards. And we have, not only do we have 2 good guards, we have 3 good guards with Jess Martell off the bench, Briggs and Weaver. If they do their job against Kennebunk's guards, I think it'll be tougher for Kennebunk's to get the ball into their big girls. And if they don't score, you know, 15, 18 points, you know, apiece, I think they're going to be in a little trouble, I hope.
Every time at this year, Rick, you get a lot of teams that in a playoff situation will be playing each other for the 3rd time, and you hear often that it's difficult to beat a team for the 3rd time in a season. What are your thoughts on that? Is that played up too much, not enough? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's true in a lot of cases, but sometimes it doesn't apply, and it depends on the attitude of the kids towards the game. And we've taken a one-game-at-a-time approach all season long. This is a game. I don't think the past is a factor, and hopefully the future isn't on our minds. We're going to concentrate on Kennebunk, play the best we can, and I think with that kind of an approach, it becomes one game. That's what we want.
Has that been difficult, keeping the team focused? You're the #1 seed. A lot of people, I mean, you must hear the talk. People expect you to be in the finals against whether it be Marshwood or Scarborough or whoever else. Has it been tough to keep the girls focused?
I don't think so. You know, this group has done a real good job all season long. In fact, the 1 or 2 times that I've slipped up and mentioned a team coming up in the near future, one of the people on the team has said, hey, you know, let's just worry about this game like you always say. And so I think they really do focus on it, and much more so than a lot of teams I've had in the past.
Right. So if you get off to a quick start, do you think that may be the key to the game?
That will be a key, but the other key will be keeping intensity, regardless of the score, at any particular point, keeping the intensity throughout the game for 32 minutes. Looking back to when we played, for example, the Gorham game or the Marshwood games or the trade games, the intensity was there from the start to the finish, regardless of the score. And I think if we do that, you know, we'll be all set.
Good luck, Rick.
Thank you.
Well, one other thing, Bob, that Coach Clark mentioned to us after that interview, weak side rebounding in this game.
That's right. You mentioned the fact that York has 3 big people and Kennebunk has 2. The key is, the other night, you remember that York got so many shots, shot after shot after shot. They didn't shoot well, but they got numerous shots. The key tonight, as Coach Clark told us, is going to be the weak side boards, offensively and defensively. The team that controls the weak side boards will be the team that comes out victorious.
Okay, the #1 York Wildcats at 18-1, playing the #4 Kennebunk Rams at 12-7. Bob and I back with the opening tap right after this.
With Bob Gould. And here's Bob with tonight's starting lineups.
Okay, for the Kennebunk Rams, 4th seeded, 12-7 coming into the tournament. At the guard slots, number 10, Karen Harvey. At the other guard slot, number 20, Nicole Vavel. At the forwards, number 14, Tracy McDonald. And number 31, Allison Booth. And the center, number 24, Elizabeth Mickeriz. For the York Wildcats, 1st seeded, number 18-1, excuse me, coming in. Their guards are number 21, Jonna Weaver, and Kristen Briggs, number 23. At the forwards, number 20, Andrea Little, and number 25, Laura Coughlin. And at the center, Joanna Brown.
York is in the white, Kennebunk in the blue. One Western Maine finalist has been decided. Marshwood defeated Scarborough earlier this afternoon, 54-33. The Hawks will play in their second straight Western Maine final against the winner of this game on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Tap controlled by the Lady Rams.
You mentioned the Kennebunk needs to be able to protect the ball and handle the pressure.
Nicole Vervel with the basketball. Into Booth, the turnaround, and Kennebunk is on the board.
Well, Booth, when she gets the ball down the low post, she showed right there. She's very tough, good size, 6'2", and got off to a good start right there.
Give and go from Coughlin to Weaver. Blocked in the paint. 2-0 Kennebunk, 30 seconds into the ball game.
Another important thing Coach Hansen told us that his girls must be able to stay off the foul line.
Underneath, Mickeriz makes it 4-0. So the inside girls doing the work for Kennebunk here in the opening minute. Kristen Briggs, the dish to Andrea Little for 2.
Teams come out red hot, 3 for 3, and we see York with some full court man-to-man pressure. Now a little trap.
Harvey bouncing it underneath, and Mickeriz is fouled.
Foul on Brown, I believe. And nice dish off that time. Almost didn't get off. Thought maybe we were going to get a travel there for a minute, but did a nice job getting the ball down low, drew the pressure, and dished it off. So nice job there by Kennebunk's guards.
Our first foul of the basketball game, as you mentioned, Bob, it goes against Joanna Brown, and at the line is 5'11" junior Liz Mickeriz.
Mickeriz, one of the better free throw shooters on the team. She's around 60%. The team on a whole averaging 54.5% from the free throw line.
And as you mentioned, Bob, she did not play in the second game against York and had 23 points in the first game against the Wildcats. She hits one, and it's 5-2 Kennebunk. Just under 7 minutes left in the first quarter.
And in the first 2 games these 2 teams played, all Kennebunk has gotten is 5 points in the first quarter. Or not even 5 points in the first quarter.
7 combined.
Right.
Loose ball scramble picked up by Kennebunk. Here's Booth off the side of the backboard, rebounded by Brown. First 2 quarter scores 22-4 and 18-3 in the first 2 games.
Booth has that little hook shot there. She kind of makes it very difficult to defend. Looks like Kareem Abdul there.
Yeah. Mini sky hook. Joanna Brown gets her own shot back and is fouled.
Nice job by Brown that time, getting her own rebound, had it blocked, and took it back up strong. And again, as we mentioned, the key is for both of these teams, really, they need to keep the big girls out of foul trouble. One thing for York is they do have a little bit more depth, obviously, coming off the bench with a Kathleen Byrne.
Foul is on Tracy McDonald, the first foul against Kennebunk. As Joanna Brown misses the first free throw. She had 7 points against Mountain Valley in the quarterfinals. Makes a second.
And again, the man-to-man pressure out of bounds.
5-3 Kennebunk. Booth's just so big she can throw over the zone as Briggs knocks it away.
Well, the thing is, it's man-to-man, so that makes it a little bit more
Doesn't matter quite as much.
No. But she can still see people in the court, as you mentioned.
And she is just a freshman.
Last time they had somebody release him, but they didn't let it go. This time, nice job by York defensively.
Karen Harvey along the left wing against Coughlin, blocked.
I've seen a number of block shots in this game when you get some big players like both of these teams do.
Briggs missing from the free throw line. Rebound comes down to Brown, and she draws the foul.
Well, what do we remember saying? Weak side boards, how key they are, and right there, Brown picked one up.
Foul is on Booth. Her first and the second on the team.
Allison Booth, personal foul number 1, team foul number 2.
Send Joanna Brown back to the free throw line.
Joanna Brown.
Joanna is a 61% free throw shooter. Very respectable free throw shooting. Anytime you shoot 60%, I think in high school, that's a pretty good free throw shooting percentage.
She can she can tie the game actually with this free throw. And we're tied at 5 with 5:47 left in the first quarter.
This time, Kennebunk chooses to pull it out a little bit.
Verville dumps it inside, and Micker is off the backboard.
The difference that time is they didn't try to take it right to the hoop. They pulled it back out, set it up, and got a double team up high, and got Micker down low.
All 3 of their field goals, Bob, coming within a couple of feet of the basket. And it's Briggs missing from the baseline. Loose ball picked up by Karen Harvey. Harvey goes baseline, reverse, blocked by Weaver. And we've seen more blocks in the first quarter than we've seen all year.
Well, I don't think in that situation, I think you may want to try to the guards don't want to be taking that ball down low. We've seen that already. They're going to get it blocked. They're going to do that.
Quick outlet from Coughlin to Weaver. And Jonna Weaver rolls around and out. It's the rebound taken down by McDonald. Briggs, the interception. She motors down, and it'll stay York ball. So York, obviously, Bob, as they've done all season long, looking to run with the basketball.
That's right, and their defensive intensity seems to be picking up. They've got a couple of steals here last couple times.
Oh, nice steal by Micker. Good anticipation.
Speaking of steals, that was a perfect play right there, defensive play. Just read the play. Anticipation. Anticipation and intensity on defense. Here are the keys.
Anticipation by Andrea Little.
Micker that time didn't turn to square and to make the pass. She tried to make the pass before she was ever turned, and the person who she thought was going to be open wasn't in fact open.
Micker a little strong. McDonald and Little battle. A jump, and it'll go to York. 4:27 left in the first quarter. 7-5 Kennebunk.
Both teams scrapping pretty good, though. Pretty good ball game to this point, and this was a key for Kennebunk to stay in this ball game early.
Coughlin over McDonald.
Now she's tough. That's what Laura can do for you. She's an excellent outside shooter, very good passer. She's really a very unsung player for this team. She can do an awful lot for you.
Foul against the Wildcats on Andrea Little.
Personal foul number 1, team foul number 2.
That's the second on the team, and the first one on Little.
Those are the fouls that are tough to get, the ones in the open court like that.
Air ball from Verville. Briggs pushing the issue into traffic. Taken away by the Rams.
I think Briggs might have liked to have a little contact on that one. I think she was a pinball there for a minute.
Kick by Weaver. So far, from Kennebunk's standpoint, they've done what they wanted to do and stayed in the game in the first quarter.
Well, this is an inexperienced club also. We mentioned it's the first game that they've ever won in the tournaments, the last game against Gorham. So the longer they hang close here, the better it...
Well, Joanna Brown lost it, and Booth makes a layup.
Allison Booth.
Yeah, those are uncharacteristic mistakes for York. You mentioned they're not coming off their best game of the year in the last game. Nice
Joanna
job.
Brown ties
Great job.
up.
Sorry, Eric. Great job getting the ball low, though.
Joanna Brown.
Joanna had her We mentioned a good passing by Coughlin, and then Joanna did a nice job of sealing her man down low.
Harvey bounces it into the corner. Shot off the mark from McDonald. Harvey, second chance, and brings with it in the corner. She'll dribble it through traffic, pass half court. Still going and all the way. Andrea Little followed the miss.
Rebounding. Rebounding, rebounding, rebounding.
And that is York's first lead of the evening, Bob, at 11-9.
And York just beat them up the floor also.
Booth ties it up.
Both teams doing a pretty good job getting the ball low, Eric. Neither defense seems to be able to shut the other team off from getting the ball low, which surprises me a little bit to this point.
There's a reach-in foul committed by Nicole Verville. And that is her first and the team's third. So with 2:17 left in the first quarter, we're seeing a good ball game here. We're tied at 11.
Actually, both teams pretty much mirror images to this point, Eric.
Then all inside. Andrea Little high off the glass. Rebound comes to Verville.
You look at the stats, I've got them almost even all the way through. So,
including the most important one in the score.
That's right.
Mickeriz. Booth just went over Weaver, missed the shot. Oh, and they keep it alive. Good dish underneath. Kennebunk battling. Finally, Coughlin comes away with it.
Great work inside, though, by the Kennebunk Rams. They kept that ball alive.
Coughlin steps back and hits the basket.
Laura looks so much more for her offense now than she did in the past. She's so much more confident with her offense. In the past, she was always looking to dish, dish, dish. But now when she gets the ball, 15 feet and in, she's looking to pass first, but she's not afraid to shoot second.
We have a substitution for Kennebunk, number 13, Leanne Mai, a 5'2" sophomore, and for York, number 30, a 5'9" junior, Kathleen Byrne. Andrea Little, the rebound, the leaner, misses. Briggs battles. Weaver, and she gives it up. A little sloppy with 1:15 left in the quarter.
Allison Booth showed she can handle the ball pretty well, Eric. Up to that point.
Well, you've done that to a lot of players in this tournament, haven't you?
I know. It's almost like they can hear what I'm saying, huh?
The kiss of death. York with the lead, 13-11. Andrea Little with the move on Booth and the layup.
Super move. Made a little up fake, threw a defender out, and just took it strong to the hoop.
6 first quarter points for Andrea Little.
And now as York starts to get the lead, that pressure seems to bother Kennebunk a little bit more.
And very quickly, Nicole Verville checks in for Karen Harvey. And we see Jessica Martell come in for York.
So York going a little bit smaller here, 3 guards. A little bit quicker.
Martell had 12 big points against Mountain Valley when she came off the bench. Right away, causing problems.
Booth, as tall as she is, she wants to keep that ball up over her head, Eric. Don't want to bring it down. That's how you make little people big people.
Or big people, little people.
That's right.
38 seconds left in the quarter. York up by 4, their biggest lead.
York defensive intensity has really picked up.
And the Kennebunk turnover. It really seems like it has picked up a notch. Kristen Briggs will bring the ball up into the forecourt with 30 seconds left in the quarter.
A 1-2-2 pressure from Kennebunk.
And York being patient, crisp passing.
Should go for the last one here.
Down to 12 seconds. Byrne blocked by Mickeriz. And she stepped on the end line. So still have a chance, Bob, with 8 seconds left.
Mickers went after that one vehemently.
Byrne will get another shot. High off the glass. In her first points of the tournament. And York will get the ball right back off a turnover.
Well, I'll tell you, Kathleen wasn't shy. She got that first one blocked, but she took that one right up strong, not even thinking about what happened in the play before.
2 seconds left in the quarter. The give and go. Weaver, not there as the first quarter closes. So York scores the last 6 points of the first quarter to take a 6-point lead after one. On the Starbound scoreboard, they lead Kennebunk in the semifinals 17-11.
You or your loved ones may need medical care at any time, day or night, for major or minor illnesses or accidents. York Hospital's emergency department is staffed round the clock with highly trained physicians and nurses. York Hospital's excellent reputation is known throughout the Seacoast area. Their quality care is what you need and should receive. In addition to an outstanding staff, York Hospital is well equipped, modern, ready to care for your health care needs. Why not make York Hospital your hospital? York Hospital, York, Maine, just over the bridge from New Hampshire.
The Star Mountain Challenge is our commitment to you for the finest in selection, service, and price. Our selection of new Sentras, Stanzas, Maximas, the new NXs, the Sporty 240 and 300ZX, pickups, extended cabs, and the four-door Pathfinders. No one sells for less, no one is more committed to your satisfaction, and no one will work harder to earn your business. So take the Star Mountain Challenge and see why no one outshines the Star.
Dave's IGA, York Village Shopping Center in York, has recently been renovated and expanded for your shopping convenience. Despite the many new additions and changes, one thing always remains the same at Dave's IGA: fast, friendly, dependable service. Open daily, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Dave's IGA, York Village Shopping Center in York.
Welcome back to NEC TV's Game of the Week. A band here at the game today. Trying to cheer on the York Wildcats. They lead at 17-11 after one quarter. Eric Nelson with Bob Gould from the Civic Center in Augusta. Weaver, Martell, Briggs, Coughlin, and Byrne to start the second quarter for York.
Turnovers the story in that first quarter. That was the difference. 3 more turnovers by Kennebunk, and as a result, 6-point lead for York.
There's a York turnover. Mai, McDonald, Verville, Mickers, and Booth start the second quarter for Kennebunk. And there's the Kennebunk turnover.
Well, that's the case of Allison Booth has to step to the ball, and that time she's just waiting for it to come to her.
Coughlin, off, Martell. Picked up the foul. We know she did a great job rebounding in the game against Mountain Valley.
That's right. Not a real tall, exceptionally tall, but she does a good, strong, gets herself in position. She's 5'6", but she gets herself in good position. That's the key. Jessica is a 48% free throw shooter. One place I'm sure she'd like to work on during the summer months, so she'll work on her free throw shooting. But if correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she shoot well free throw? I think she was 6 for 6 in the first half in that game the other day, so maybe her concentration is just a little bit better up here.
She shot much better in the second half, Rick Clark says. She misses that one, so she's 7 for 8 in the tournament. Kennebunk ball, a lot of scrambling in the corner. As York has extended their lead to 7. It's their biggest lead.
So York's changed their pressure to 1-1-1, I believe. Coach Clark's got all kinds of them.
Briggs tried to spin, and that's 3 fouls on Nicole Verville, the point guard for Kennebunk.
Well, that hurts. I mentioned Harold Hansen, coach of Kennebunk, told us prior to the game, very important. Last thing he said to us before we walked off, he says, we've got to stay out of foul trouble. We can't let one of our big people get in foul trouble. And that's a big foul right there, the point guard, especially against this pressure of York's.
It's 5 team fouls against Kennebunk. There are just 2 against York. So we played almost a minute in the second quarter. Jonna Weaver, not the way it was designed, but it goes. Allison Booth to Mickeriz on a double team. She draws the foul.
That's a tough pass to be asking a 6'2" forward to be making that pass on the run like that. That's a tough pass to make.
Foul is on number 25, Robert Coughlin.
I'll tell you what, though, Mickeriz stays pretty close to the hoop, doesn't she? Every time I've seen her, she's right there at the basket.
Foul on Coughlin, her first. Mickeriz, 6 points in the game.
Mickeriz is averaging 18.3 points per game, along with 16 rebounds. And Coach Hansen told us a startling story about injury that she had last year. We'll give it to you momentarily.
As Mickeriz fights and scores, and Rick Clark looking for an over the back.
But Mickeriz a very serious injury last year. Eric lost part of her kneecap, I believe. Briggs running shot from the free throw line, got the roll. Tough shot by Kristen.
Briggs' first basket in the first quarter in a playoff game last year against Edward Little. Briggs missed the layup. Weaver, yes, on the follow.
York crashing the boards.
By number 12, Jessica Martell.
York not giving us a chance to mention Mickeriz's injury as the pressure bothering Kennebunk. Close to 10 seconds. There's a turnover. And they call 10 seconds.
Well, York has changed up their pressure here, a little zone pressure and trapping pressure, and right now it's really bothering Kennebunk, especially with Gravel with 3 fouls.
Laura Coughlin out, Joanna Brown in, and Sarah Kimball, a 5'7" senior, number 23, comes in for Kennebunk. Oof, Martell hits the table hard.
And Kennebunk turns it right back over, though.
Okay. Getting back to Mickeriz, though, of course, Kennebunk played in Class A the past number of years, made the tournament the last 2 years, and they lost to Edward Little last year. And Mickeriz dislocated her kneecap, pushed it to one side, and actually lost part of it. And they were unsure whether she would play again, but she's had herself a great season.
I guess the doctors were saying that they didn't think she ever would play. They would question whether she could be able to play, but she's certainly shown everyone that she can still, in fact, play. And she's only a junior.
Doesn't look too bad either. York will keep the ball with 5:36 left in the half. They lead it by 10, their biggest lead, 24-14.
Pressure has been the difference, though, in this game. Pressure and second shot rebounding by York. We've done a good job on the boards.
Brown missing, rebounded by Kimball. Long lead pass. Kimball blocked by Little. And then Little commits the foul on Mickeriz, who had picked up the loose ball.
Like I said, she's always around the basket, Eric. All you gotta do is throw it up somewhere near the basket. She'll be there.
Fouls on number 20, Andrea Little. Personal foul number 2, team foul number 4.
That time they really forced it inside. They knew the pass was coming, 3 people inside, and it was really not a wise decision that time.
Oh, thank you very much, says Andrea Little.
Well, they got 2 people underneath there, and one person wasn't going to get it, the other one was.
12-point York lead, another steal. Briggs to Weaver. Missed the layup, and again, Bob, we continue to see this team miss an awful lot of shots that you really think they should make.
Well, another thing is for Lady Rams, I think we're going to get a timeout here, so we can talk more about when we come back. But they're going to have to design something to handle this pressure a lot better.
4:47 left in the half. Kennebunk calls timeout. York leading Kennebunk in this semifinal, 26-14.
For most people, the atmosphere at Litchfield's is a quiet, relaxing experience. Pleasurable decisions made in a pleasant atmosphere. A leisurely attention to detail. And in Litchfield's Lounge, meet and share an intimate moment with friends. And of course, our staff is there for you. Litchfield's, Route 1 Wells.
Joanne's Gardens, Route 9 in Wells, is your full-service florist. Joann's has a large variety of green and flowering houseplants, along with a large selection of cut flowers. With 28 years in the business, the Farley family has always provided the personal touch, from fruit baskets, balloons, and stuffed animals to custom-ordered silk-dried or fresh flower arrangements. No matter what the season, Joann's Gardens has all the items needed to brighten your day or someone else's. Located across from the Maryland Ridge Restaurant on Route 9 in Wells, Joann's Gardens, where your satisfaction is guaranteed.
Day in and day out, all through life, having the right partner can help. If you're looking for the right banking partner for your life, come to Mid-Maine Savings Bank in Sanford. Mid-Maine is a sound bank with a hometown touch, and we'd like to be a partner in your future.
Mid-Maine Savings Bank, we're partners in your future.
209 Main Street, Sanford, and Route 109 South Sanford. Member FDIC.
Rick Clark breaking the huddle. Midway through the second quarter, his team leads by 12, and Bob, they threaten to extend it more unless Kennebunk can make an adjustment against the press.
Well, what I've seen is early on, York was throwing man-to-man pressure at him, and Kennebunk was trying to pass over it. Now they're throwing zone pressure at him, and Kennebunk is trying to dribble through it. So that's kind of against what you're taught, really. I would think now would be the time that you'd want to have an Allison Booth and your big girls trying to pass the ball over this zone.
And he's put Booth on the bench where she sat for a couple of minutes. That foul is on Jessica Martell. Her first in the team fifth. Andrea Little, the steal, and the layup. 10 for Andrea Little. It's not a turnover, it's been a foul the last few trips down.
Well, Kennebunk, everything is just rotating the ball back and forth. They got nobody coming to the middle on a 2-2-1. You got to have somebody come to the middle, and coming to the ball, you got to make some diagonal type passes. And we're not seeing it. All we're seeing is just trying to rotate the ball back and forth. And York's really overplaying dramatically, but Kennebunk's not looking up the floor. Here we go again, side court pass.
There's a pass into Harvey. They finally get it past half court.
Well, that was a tough pass even there. She had somebody on the same wing as her. You got to look up ahead of you. Diagonal, you can't look cross court. That's what they're doing. Every pass has come has been cross court.
Harvey looking in and gets it to McDonald and swing it around.
They certainly knew they were going to see this pressure, that's for certain.
And a foul. This one, I believe, on Kristen Briggs.
The only thing this may do is take some of that pressure that York's applying off a little bit, because it will put, of course, Kennebunk in a bonus situation from this point forward.
That's the 7th team foul. So very quickly, Kennebunk shooting in the bonus.
At the line, Karen Harvey.
Harvey shooting 2, misses on the first one as Allison Booth comes back into the game for Kennebunk. The Rams weren't even expected to be here in Augusta this year after losing all 5 starters, the top 8 players from a year ago.
Well, they're in a no-lose situation, obviously, Eric. As you mentioned, the coach said a lot of people didn't think they'd go 500 on the season, so they've proved a lot of the critics wrong, and they are young. Big steal here.
Steal by Harvey as Mai up ahead. She comes up with a loose ball and puts it off the glass.
Leanne Mai.
Looked up a little bit earlier, may have made that a little bit easier, but the end results are the same.
Cuts the lead to 11, 28 to 17 in favor of York. Skip pass to Briggs, and she hits the jumper.
Kristen, a lot more poised and playing much better today, not forcing, taking what's being given to her, not forcing her offense.
Weaver the steal, and travel.
But again, the side court pass, everything's back and forth, you know, nobody's looking up the court.
McDonald trapped, and a jump ball. This time the possession light to Kennebunk.
Even this time, she was turning and looking back behind her to pass the ball. You don't want to pass the ball back. But that's inexperience. Allison actually has done a pretty nice job helping bring the ball up. I think what they'd like her to do is once you get it up there is get into a guard's hands.
It's thrown up there. Booth, the turnaround. And it'll be York ball with 3:02 left in the half.
Kennebunk hasn't had many shots at the hoop here, Eric. I've only got him 4 shots this entire second quarter. They have not shot the ball very much. You've got him for what, 1 basket?
2 baskets in this quarter, 2 free throws. Coughlin in for Martell.
So give and go.
Back out to Little, over to Coughlin, blocked by Mickeriz, back into Brown, the bounce to Little in the paint, over McDonald, rolls out, rebound to Harvey.
York had the people there for the rebound, though.
Karen Harvey, a 5'3" sophomore. Out of bounds, York ball. As you mentioned, they are very young, Bob.
And the other, yeah, that's right. Another thing too, Eric, is that Kennebunk has not established any type of outside game whatsoever. So York just beginning to pack it down more and more.
And Kennebunk starting 5, a freshman, sophomore, junior, and 2 seniors, and of course York very young too. Starting just the 2 seniors, a couple of sophomores, and a junior. Weaver, the junior, misses, and Coughlin lost it out of bounds. York leading by 13.
That time they looked up the court and they got the easy one. Should be the basket down the other way. Got to give it to a little earlier though.
Micker is missing. Booth, he's tough at that size. Missed the hook shot. Here's Andrea Little. She looks up ahead to Kristen Briggs with my back, and Briggs missed a shot. Coughlin off. Little draws the foul.
I think we've you know, one thing that really has been established here is the fact that York looked up the court, and that last break on that pass, if she'd have passed the ball, once she drew the pressure to make the pass, they would have had an easy 2, but instead she got herself in such a position that she allowed the defense to come back and fill, and it was actually too late then.
Andrea Little at the free throw line. Little actually the best free throw shooter on this team at 72%.
One of the better shooter, period, shooting at 45 from the field. And only a sophomore.
Little now with 11 points in the game as York ties their biggest lead of 14.
People like Andrea Little and Allison Booth will be playing some basketball for a few years together here, or against each other.
Certainly should be, as Kathleen Byrne comes in for York, in for Joanna Brown. And Harvey and Briggs get tied up, and it's the second foul on Kristen Briggs.
One thing I must say too is I think York the other day, I didn't think they played all that well, but they have played much, much better here tonight. They're in the offensive flow. Their defense has been solid. This to me is a much better game, especially offensively for the Wildcats in the game we saw the other day, where they were just kind of throwing up anything that anytime they got the hands on the ball. Now they're really working to get good shots.
Karen Harvey at the line on the 1-and-1 free throw.
Got shooting free throws pretty good, I think, on the evening as a whole. Better than their 54% average, I believe.
They are 5 for 8, 63%.
Okay.
So you're right. Good look from Leanne Mai, but it's knocked out by Andrea Little. 1:25 left in the first half. Mai, the open jumper, and then twisted her ankle.
One of the rare outside shots.
One of the rare ones from either of these teams.
1-3-1. Defense. Should leave the corners open. Good hustle by Laura Coughlin.
Kept it alive as she went into the Kennebunk bench. And they'll reset the play. Little at the free throw line to Martell, blocked by Booth. Martell hustles to get it back. and traveled. For the first time in the game, we see Julie Kleeman, a 5'2" sophomore, number 21 for Kennebunk.
So you got to give Allison Booth a lot of credit. She's pretty tough inside there. 6'2", she can move. Got away with a double dribble there, I believe.
Andrea Little steals it. And Weaver bounced it too far for Martell. Harvey to Mickeriz.
Oh,
boy, that's tough against any player.
Sure is. And that's a tough foul to draw when you throw up that type of shot. You don't want to be causing a foul. You want to get your hands straight up.
She didn't make a move. She just went straight up and spun. And
personal foul number 2.
Well,
second on Coughlin.
You know, if you're a coach, I say, please, just put your hands up straight. If somebody takes a shot like that, if they make it, God bless them. But that's the kind of shot we want them to take.
Liz Mickeriz cuts the lead back into single digits with 11 seconds left in the half. Rebound comes out to Martell. 9-point York lead. 6 seconds left in the half. Right back to Kennebunk. And the half ends. So the Rams cut what was a 14-point lead down to 9, Bob, by scoring the last 5 points of the half.
Oh, it's a good sign for Kennebunk. They seem to handle the pressure a little bit of York's a little bit better, but I think part of that is the fact that I think York took a little bit of the pressure off a little bit. I think you give a lot of the credit to York, actually, in that case. I think they kind of let Kennebunk get maybe back into it a little bit. But I think if York applies that pressure, unless Kennebunk does something differently at halftime to adjust to that pressure, I just don't see. I think York at almost any time can really turn up the defensive pressure and can just come away with steals and easy baskets just about any time they want.
Okay, on the Star Mountain scoreboard, the number 1 Wildcats leading the number 4 Rams at halftime, 31. The girls, as the York Wildcats lead the Kennebunk Rams 31-22 at halftime. I'm Eric Nelson with Bob Gould. See some of the crowd here on hand cheering on the number 1 Wildcats. And Bob, let's take a look at what we've got for stats from the first half.
Okay, for the Kennebunk Rams, 8 for 21 from the field, shooting at 38%, 6 for 10 from the free throw line at 60%. And in the rebounding action, they have 12 total rebounds and 15 turnovers. That's an awful lot of turnovers. Kennebunk, for the York Wildcats, they're shooting much better this evening than they did in the quarterfinals. They had 13 for 30 at 43%, 5 for 8 from the free throw line at 63%. Rebounding action, they have 14 rebounds and 12 rebounds for the Wildcats. Maybe a few more turnovers than Coach Clark, I'm sure, would like to see also.
Let's take a look at the individual halftime statistics for Kennebunk. They're led by Liz Mickeriz with 9 points, Allison Booth with 6, and Leanne Mai with 4. For the Wildcats, Andrea Little led all scorers with 11 in the first half. Joanna Brown had 5, and there were 3 other Wildcats with 4 points, Weaver, Briggs, and Coughlin. Foul trouble in the first half for Kennebunk. Nicole Verville with 3 fouls, McDonald with 2, and Booth with 1. For the Wildcats, they have 4 ladies with 2 fouls, Martell, Little, Coughlin, and Briggs, all with 2 fouls in the first half. So foul trouble really not a problem yet, but York with the 9-point lead, and it seems, Bob, that you know, almost with this team there's a button you can push, and they seem to turn things up and make it really difficult for an opponent.
Well, defensive intensity. Coach Clark came out with a man-to-man to start, and I think maybe just kind of lured Kennebunk just a little bit into you know, a false sense of security when they were able to handle that pressure. What kind of surprised me was the fact that Kennebunk came out trying to pass over the man-to-man. Usually in a man-to-man, what you do is clear the floor, give it to the best ball handler, and bring the ball up the court. But instead, they tried to pass over, had a few turnovers early, but not really that many. What really surprised me was when Kennebunk, or when York went zone pressure, then all of a sudden, Kennebunk's trying to dribble it through. Now, they didn't have Ravel in here, and obviously that hurts a little bit. But you cannot dribble through zone pressure. If you do, you're going to end up with 15 turnovers in the half. And I think, really, that's been a big factor in this game. Although I think York, without the 15 turnovers, would still be ahead in this ballgame, because I think offensively they've done exactly what they wanted to do. If they play with the offensive team offense they played in the first half of this game, the remainder of the tournament, they're going to be tough to be beat.
Our score at halftime, York leading Kennebunk 31-22. The winner to face Marshwood in the regional final on Friday night. Stay tuned. Bob and I will be back with the second half in just a moment.
You've seen Ken Plord at Biddeford football games for years. Now you can see Ken at his California paint store, York County Paint and Supply.
This is what I've got on my own house, and it's been on my own house for almost 9 years now. I've had California strictly on my house. They put their reputation in the can, and once you're a California dealer, you don't want to be...
York is just not to be too content. Don't be content. Continue to do the things that you've done in the first half, and then they'll be okay. They did a nice job in the first half. Thought they played very well, and I think if they can keep up their intensity in the second half, they'll be fine.
The Wildcats will have the basketball. Kristen Briggs, Jonna Weaver at the guards, Andrea Little and Laura Coughlin at the forwards, and Joanna Brown the center. And for Kennebunk, they'll go with their starting five: Harvey and Verville at the guards, McDonald and Mickeriz at the forwards, Booth at the center.
2-3 pressure by Kennebunk.
Coughlin the offensive rebound and basket.
And inside person for Kennebunk, very small, and that's where Coughlin came away with that rebound on the inside that time. Much better job breaking the press that time, Eric. That's how you break the press.
Harvey tried to give it off to Mickeriz. It's stolen by Kristen Briggs. The long bounce pass taken back by Verville.
Nice trap. You can't dribble into the trap. You have to recognize the trap, hold it up, and get rid of the ball before the trap.
Harvey gets picked clean by Kristen Briggs, and she makes the layup.
I think Kristen Briggs has arrived. I got on her a little bit in that first game. Didn't think it was her best game of the year, but she's played very well here.
Andrea Little, the steal, and she traveled as she got caught.
You want to teach your offensive people to step to the ball. Right now, York's doing a much better job of stepping to the ball on defense. They're anticipating.
Booth dribbling against the pressure. McDonald is blocked. Booth follows off the back of the iron, and the ball goes off of Mickeriz.
They are letting them play, I would say. Although we've had some fouls, I think they're letting them play pretty much. A little bit of contact down here.
Mickeriz looked a little upset at herself as she came back and bumped into Kristen Briggs. And York breaks the pressure easily. Here's Weaver inside the free throw line and back out top. Briggs yelling for the basketball to set it up.
Well, that's your leader for you. That's your senior. You get the lead, you play like you're ahead, not behind. Be patient. Make every turn down quarter a key time. Nice pass.
Andrea Little with the basket.
Andrea Little.
Much more poised team, this York Wildcat team here this evening.
York's biggest lead, 15 points.
I would dare say that if they'd have played like they did the other evening, this game would be very close. Much closer than it certainly is. But they have definitely risen to the occasion here.
Big plus here for York. They've scored the first 6 points now, or first 6 points of the second half.
Allison Booth walks the...
Briggs with her speed catches up to the ball. Well, set the play up.
Yep, again, didn't force it. Going to get right back in the offense quick, though, before the defense has a chance to set up. She feels 2 people on her heel.
Coughlin is short. Brown, the nice save. Tipped out to Weaver. Andrea Little. And a foul.
I'll tell you what, right now, Coach Clark is inside. He may not change his expression on the outside, but he is beaming from ear to ear inside. I'll tell you, he has to be so happy with the way his girls are playing right now. I have not seen, all year long, I haven't seen York play any better than this. They are just playing very, very good basketball right now, Eric.
And the key that we talked about in the pregame show, Bob, the weak side rebounding.
Oh.
Joanna Brown had position on the weak side and picked up the foul on Mickeriz.
Well, that's team offense. Again, it's important that everybody, we talked about roles. We talked on Sportlight today about people knowing their roles. So often what happens is that ball becomes a magnet. And it's like everybody swarms to the ball. And people don't want to, everybody says, give me the ball in a shooting position, give me the ball in a shooting position.
you have to understand that certain people, you know, if you don't have the ball, then you should be looking to either get open and getting a scoring position, or if you get in a weak side position, rebounding position, so that you can score and get the rebound. You know where the shot's coming off, so it's just a matter of getting in the offense, and that's what you talk about, team offense. Everybody thinking and getting into the flow.
York will have the ball after the timeout with 5:33 left in the third. 37-22, the Wildcats leading. Andrea Little blocked by Mikariz. And ball control by the Rams. Kristen Briggs again. Well, this time she stepped on the line, but she's tough one-on-one defensively.
Absolutely. If Kristen has any fault at all, is that sometimes she doesn't know when to turn the dial down a little bit, because once she gets going and playing well, she just feels like she can take that ball away any time she wants to. And most of the time she can, but of course she has to be careful. She doesn't want to get in foul trouble, especially in a situation like this, because you don't really need to.
First three-point attempt of the afternoon is missed.
Joanna Brown, nice job of dribbling the ball up court.
Coughlin a little late getting to the ball.
Somebody bring a birthday cake or something. I smell cake.
Boy, I do too. I'd like to get a piece of it.
I know.
Not my birthday.
It's not mine either, but I'll take a piece of that cake.
I know, it smells awfully good wherever it's coming from.
We're nowhere near the concession there. Maybe it's cotton candy. That's probably what it is.
Could be that. Too bad you can't smell things on TV.
Someday.
Someday. Oh, no doubt, no doubt. You have this scratch and sniff thing on the front of your set.
That's right, that's right. Oh, nice pass down low.
Joanna Brown from Kristen Briggs.
And Joanna Brown did a nice job, because she was kind of off balance, but she righted herself, and Kristen Briggs gets a hand on another pass.
Well, we talked about the first quarter being important. The third quarter may be the big one here for York. Mikariz is fouled, but York has scored, Bob, the first 8 points, and have outscored Kennebunk 8-0 here in the third quarter.
Well, I was not overly concerned, but I guess anytime when you things are going your way so well, you worry about being overconfident and maybe just coming in a little bit flat. But York has just seemingly each quarter just turned the dial up just a little bit more, and I don't think they're satisfied with coming out with a win right now. I think that they want to. I wouldn't be surprised. Coach Clark says, "Well, did you see us score that first game there? That was about what, 25-point difference? Let's see if we can do one better on that. You know, let's say something back to Marshwood."
Mikariz scores Kennebunk's first points of the half, cut the lead to 15 at 39-24.
Notice the patience when York brought the ball up, always taking a step forward, passing the ball ahead. Nice give and go.
Weaver to Brown for 2 more.
Boy, I'll tell you, Coach Hanson, all I can do is shake his head right now, because this is a well-oiled machine.
Brown with 9. Mikariz missing. Weak side rebound by Jonna Weaver. Briggs at full speed pulls it up.
Kennebunk did a much better job getting it up that time, but again, get one opportunity, and that was it.
And that'll stay York ball.
I think Mikariz maybe a little bit upset right now. Just reached ahead of Briggs to knock the ball out of bounds.
And Andrea Little, trouble getting it in, gets it to Joanna Brown. Off the back of the rim, Little draws the second foul on Mikariz.
Little just crashing the boards.
It's only the third foul of this half. Like you said, Bob, they're letting them play some basketball.
I think Coach Lewis may be sitting somewhere in the stands shaking his head right now. So his team played very, very well today, though, and they have really, since that opening game against York, when we saw them, and they really didn't look like a very good basketball team. He's done a remarkable job with them and turned them around, and they won a couple of close games early, and I think it gave them a lot of confidence. And right now, they've got a lot of confidence, but he knows he's going to have his work cut out for him against York. This is a solid York team.
18-point lead, Andrea Little now with 14 in the game. Mikariz with 2 more. She's got 13.
Oh, Briggs. But again, the rebound by Brown.
Brown, 2 chances, and then got stripped by Leanne Mai, and then Weaver strips her.
John is one of those role players, too. She just does whatever's asked of her and works hard defensively, crashes the boards for you.
Brown working hard. Doing a great job on the boards.
Awesome job on the boards. So right now, it looks as though Kennebunk getting a little bit tired, and they're just not boxing out inside. They got to get a body on somebody, Eric. Once that ball goes up to the hoop, you can't worry about the rebound so much as worrying about getting a body on somebody.
Mai, good move, but lost the basketball.
Just a little bit out of control, and you know, the right idea, but maybe just not the ability to be able to do some of the things that they're seeing on the other end of the court. You see a Kristen Briggs do, and you think you can do the same thing, but there aren't many players can do the things that she can do.
2.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. York leading 42-26 from the Civic Center in Augusta. Semifinal game. Coughlin drawing the foul.
I don't think I've ever seen one of the most fundamental plays of all of basketball work to such perfection and work so often as have I seen the give and go against for York. They have just lived off it, and
the simplest of plays, like you said.
That just goes to show that this game doesn't have to be as complex as people think it is. So it's execution. Execution is the key.
York is a team 6 for 11 from the line.
Let me mention, they're going to have to shoot well throughout the tournament from the free throw line.
Laura Coughlin now with 7 in the game. And a Kennebunk turnover, and Harold Hansen is not a whole lot he can do now. He's clubbed down by 17.
No, because that just adds to it. Again, getting behind this team is, you can't get, a tough team to get behind York.
And here comes Kathleen Byrne into the ball game for Joanna Brown.
She gets a good hand from the York crowd. She played very solid game here this evening.
9 for Brown, and close to that many rebounds too.
I think you forget sometimes that Brown's only a sophomore. She plays like someone with much more experience.
Booth running the break. The 2 big girls for Kennebunk. Booth to the sideline. Back out to Verville off the front of the rim, and York will break it out. Here's Briggs with a 2-on-3. Oh, and it just rolls off the rim.
She saw that there was nothing on the other side. She was 1-on-3, but she had her guard right on her hip. She knew if she took it strong, she would pick up the foul and get a good tight shot of her right there. And she's played a super game here tonight, Kristen Briggs.
Personal foul number 5.
And Nicole Verville fouls out.
Team foul number 4.
Her 5th. And the senior, decent job at point guard tonight, fouls out early in this game with 1:53 left in the third.
That hurt him, no question about it. Actually, she runs the off guard for him, actually. We call her the point guard, but she is the off guard. She did get in foul trouble, though, and that obviously hurt him. Being a senior and one of the leaders on the team. Harvey, we actually run at the point guard, but being a freshman,
we have alternated a lot during the game.
That's right. Bell has been called upon a lot. You're right, Eric.
Kristen Briggs with a couple of free throws. She's got 8 points. And York with their biggest lead, 45-26.
Nice job. Got the ball in the middle that time. She'd have looked on the weak side. She would have had some person break into the hoop.
Martell in for York. Briggs. Ton of steals as she falls right down in front of the Butlers.
Well, she's used to falling down. She's, whether it's soccer or baseball, softball, or basketball, she finds herself on the court or the field quite often, and that's just because of her all-out hustle.
And Mai with a steal. Harvey up to Booth. No call. Micker is the offensive board.
Kristen Briggs giving up a ton of height there, but went right after her.
Just the second field goal of the half for Kennebunk. Kathleen Byrne for 2.
Kathleen doesn't take very many shots, but she's shooting extremely well. She's only taking 2 or 3 shots here.
I think she's made 2 and got 1 blocked. McDonald from the free throw line, and it goes.
Got the roll. Kennebunk with a little pressure of their own, little 2-1-2.
Pinball right to Briggs. Shows you the frustration of Kennebunk here in this game. And a reach in on Karen Harvey.
As well as York has played in the second half, they only have 1 team foul on America.
Personal foul number 1.
That's playing real well when you can play that intense and only have 1 foul.
There are 5 now against Kennebunk.
That time he looked for the give and go, and it was well read. Karen Harvey come up with the play.
Having trouble getting it out of the backcourt.
Tough pass. Got to come to the ball again. If she'd have stepped across the lane, she would have been able to get that.
11 seconds left in the third quarter. Coughlin got it tipped, and they'll have it with 8 seconds left. So they traveled about 30 feet in 3 seconds.
Well, they should make it down the other end then. That's right.
Tracy McDonald is shaken up, holding her hand.
Tracy, a 5'6" senior, also a senior, averaging 6 points on the season.
I think she hurt her wrist, maybe on that transition. So Harold Hansen, in his 5th year as head coach of the Rams, will go to his bench with just 8 seconds left in the quarter, and we will see a new face.
The medical team gets there.
We'll see.
Maybe it's a shoulder, actually.
Well, maybe it is. Jessica Sherman, 5'6" junior, checks in. Andrew Little to put it in play near the scorer's table, up to Briggs. 2 seconds left, gets it down into Byrne. And Kennebunk will get it with 4 seconds.
All that in 4 seconds.
Harvey to half court, 2, 1.
Woo!
Get it off the front of the rim. So York is just 8 minutes away, commanding 17-point lead. If they hold on to win, they'll play the number 2 Marshwood Hawks Friday night, 7 o'clock in the Western Maine final.
Boy, those teams haven't seen each other very often over the last few years, have they?
Boy, it's not a tournament unless they meet each other. Last year was the first year in a few that they hadn't seen each other in the tournament. So they fixed the MSSPA sign at the other side of the court. And Kennebunk to have the ball first. Starts fourth quarter. Boy, Leanne Mai through traffic.
Well, she's hurt now.
She's hurt, and she had twisted her ankle earlier in the game. And that penetration just takes the trainer off the bench onto the court. And this is the last thing you want to see. And it's difficult to tell what it is, a leg or...
Looks like maybe it is a right leg.
Almost looks like the people looking at the knee. Oh, maybe she twisted a knee.
Yeah, he's rubbing her in the kneecap area.
She went in between the 2 York players.
Might come down on her knee. Well, that is the last thing you want to see. You know, injuries are part of the game, but you never want to see injuries happen. And especially when you're a coach, there's not a lot you can do. You stand in, you want it so much. I mean, these kids you're so close to all during the year, and you really, your heart goes out to them. And yet, you know, there's really not much you can do for them. Right now, Kennebunk's battle wounds mounting up as the, I guess right now, if you coach Harold Hansen, he just may want to get out of this one alive now. We talked about him getting out of the first quarter alive. I think he just wants to get out of this one alive.
Obviously it is Leanne Mai's knee. She is just a sophomore, so she's got a lot of basketball ahead of her. She tries to put some pressure on it, and she'll walk off the court. So that's good news.
That is good news.
Even at halftime, Bob, this was a game. Kennebunk only trailed by 9 at halftime, but York scored the first 8 points of the second half and then essentially put it away.
Well, they did. They just played very, very well. And again, I think they played as well as I've seen them play this year. And
it was an impressive 4-minute stretch to start the half. I mean, they played well the entire half, but
it just seemed like maybe they knew it was still a game and that Kennebunk was still in it at half, and maybe they didn't want them hanging around much longer. First 4 minutes of a half, very important. They can make the difference. I mean, if Kennebunk gets off to a good start there, it's a ball game. But to York's credit, they didn't let him get back in. In fact, they just put it away.
York turnover with 7:27 left in the game.
And a turn and square and look to the hoop.
Sherman underneath the basket. Rebounded and put in by Mikarez. 17 for Liz Mikarez.
Briggs just dribbles. That's most people, you tell them don't do that. Don't dribble through the pressure or zone pressure, but
she's so quick.
You get that much talent, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Cross court to Andrea Little. And a head fake on Booth, and we've got a foul.
I think it might be Joanna Brown over the bat.
And Mikarez had the position that time.
Mentioned about getting a body on somebody, and Kennebunk has done a little bit better job in the last few minutes with that.
Heard the PA announcer, just 2 team fouls this half against York and the 3rd against Joanna Brown.
Well, Booth that time stripped.
Briggs to Little.
Great assist. Great assist. The bounce pass, the only way that pass is going to be made. And Booth tried to dribble by Kristen Briggs with her quickness and how high that Allison dribbled that there was no chance.
Little to Martell.
Jessica Martell.
Got to dribble it against the zone.
And Harold Hansen calls timeout with 6:19 left. 19-point lead.
Actually got to pass against the zone. I'm sorry. You don't dribble against the zone, but that time, actually, when he called a timeout, I think they had it broken because just when he took the timeout, all the girl had to do again was look back up court. She had a girl breaking all alone, so. But it's a learning experience. Again, they are young, and these are some of the things that they will need to work on. It's a lot of promise, though. Mikarez and Booth, 2 solid players coming back next year. This program seems to have it turned around, and talking to Coach Hansen, he attributed a lot of their success to their youth program that has really turned things around for Kennebunk. It was something that was not always there, and since it has been there, some of these players now are starting to come up and starting to make a difference in the program. See, York now pulls the pressure off with the big lead. A nice gentleman that Mr. Clark is.
There's a steal, Andrea Little. Little now with 18.
York's going to pick up in the half court now. Andrea Little nearly came away with another one.
Mikarez missing. Sherman fouled by Briggs.
When Booth made that pass, I didn't know if it was a pass or going to be a shot. The way she shoots it.
The way she shoots some of the time, she shoots like that. Yeah.
Fouls on number 23, Kristen Briggs. Personal foul number 3, team foul number 3.
Kristen Briggs' 3rd foul.
You notice one thing Kennebunk also does, every pass is trying to make one pass. You notice York a lot of times uses a skip pass. So that avoids that overplay because you're denying one pass away. One player away you're denying, and that allows that skip pass to be open. I think maybe Kennebunk looked to that just a little bit more.
Sarah Kimball shooting 2. Melanie Griffin, number 24 for York, has checked into the game from Martell, seeing her first action. So Rick Clark has used 8 players as Kimball misses both free throws. And Harold Hansen has used 9 in this game. 53-32, York up. 5.5 minutes left in the game. Little missing, gets it back, fade away. Brown's there to follow, in and out. Gets it back, tries it again and puts it in.
Very tough inside. dominating. That's without Laura Coughlin.
11 for Brown. Micker is missing. Brown the rebound. Pass slightly tipped. Griffin. And she'll wait. He'll set up the play.
Nice job to look at the court, not force it. Under control.
Harvey comes right out on Griffin.
Nice hustle by the young sophomore, Harvey. She's been very impressive here this evening, the 5'3" sophomore. Done a nice job for Kennebunk.
Andrew Little sits down with 18 as Stacy Kennedy comes into the game.
That bodes well for them, I think. One of their other guys, Jennifer Coyne, out with a knee injury.
Harvey missing from outside. Booth on the follow-up, draws the foul.
Another player who's played real solid for him is also a sophomore. So he gives like some young, good-looking young guards here.
Foul is on number 32, Joanna Brown. Personal foul number 4.
And number 31 in the picture right there. She puts her mind to it. She puts her mind to it and goes to work for the next 3 years. This young girl has the potential to be as good as any big person I think we've seen in a long time. She's got all the tools.
Has to work on her free throws though. Misses both of those. And Kennebunk ball. Foul, by the way, was on Joanna Brown, her 4th.
But she's only 50% free throw shooter, but she's averaged 12 points a game for them and 11 rebounds and 9.7 blocks a game.
That's the incredible part. 4:20 left in this game.
Oh, what a pass.
Briggs to Kennedy for 2.
I'll tell you, Kristen's played as well as I've seen her play here this evening. Coming off maybe one of her worst performances, and tonight playing one of her best. So that's the senior for you that doesn't hang her head. She's going to come back and show everybody what she's really capable of doing.
Nice defensive play by Byrne. Briggs almost dribbled it over the head of Julie Kleeman. Oh, Mel Griffin battling with Micarez.
Well, Melanie says when you get down on this level, down the floor here, you and I are both the same size here, girl.
That takes away the foot advantage, right? Shelly Sorensen, a 5'5" senior, comes in for Kennebunk, number 22. Briggs missing from outside. Kennebunk ball with 3:40 left.
On the first half of our York doubleheader.
Yes, we've got another semifinal game, this one with the boys, as the boys will play Mountain Valley for the 3rd straight year. The number 2 and number 3 seeds. Kristen Briggs with the steal and finishes it off at the other end.
Kristen Briggs.
Well, we don't give player of the games in tournaments, but she would certainly get my vote tonight.
3 Wildcats in double figures tonight, as York is now leading by 27. And we see Jessica O'Malley, a 5'7" junior, number 22, and also Andrea Johansson, a 5' junior, number 15.
Well, Kristen Briggs goes out, and she gets a great hand, and Coach Clark very pleased with her effort here tonight as well. He should be.
Briggs leaves with 10 points. Coughlin leaves with 7.
I think if Coach Clark, if I could get all his players to react that way to constructive criticism, he'd probably ask me to do that 4 or 5 of his players every game.
Mel Griffin took it strong, but got blocked. It's too much of a height advantage there for Booth. Micarez for 2.
Little jump shot here, a little jump push shot. I think she turned it just squared. She could probably make that a little bit easier, but
9 for Micarez. It stops a, oh my goodness, stops a 14-point York run.
It's not quite like you teach people to shoot.
No.
Try to get them as square to the basket. But I guess whatever works.
York had run, 12 consecutive points off before that basket. Well, the girls and boys like to make runs. 2:20 left in the game, 25-point lead. This is a small crew in there now. Johansson and Griffin at the guards. Not running things too badly right here. Keeping control of the basketball.
Okay.
The jinx continues as Griffin travels. And for the first time in this tournament, we see number 11, Molly McDonald, a 5'8" sophomore who had herself a good JV season. She's her first action.
5'8". Where does this guy find all these girls? It must be in the water down there, right?
Must be near the ocean, that salt air.
I don't know. My daughter's sitting over there. I think she'd like to have maybe 4 or 5 inches on it.
Danielle Luia, number 11, is in for Kennebunk. She's got the basketball now.
Wells girls got what? One player who's maybe 5'7", 5'8".
So.
York's got 3 players on the bench taller than that.
And they continue to come up with it.
Oh, I know. They just
year after year.
When you look at York here, 6 foot, 5'9", 5'11", 5'7", 5'10", 5'8". There's a lot of small colleges don't have players that big.
Daniel Louis at the free throw line, shooting 2. As we will see another one of the sophomores for York in just a moment. As Louis misses both free throws. Jessica O'Malley the rebound. So Mel Griffin running the show. York with a 25-point lead.
What did I tell you? What was the score of that first game?
21 points.
Okay.
What's the difference? 54-33. Marshwood beats Scarborough. And also for the first time in this tournament, we see number 10, Lindsay Playstad, a 5'5" sophomore.
That's the other remarkable thing when you look at York. You got 5 sophomores on this group here that are up here, and 3 juniors. So very young team.
Yep. And Shannon Mankin for Kennebunk comes into the game. So Harold Hansen has used his entire bench, and just about everyone has played for York.
Another freshman for Kennebunk.
Yep. I believe Melissa Stone, the only player who's not played for the Wildcats. Shot missed from outside. Johansson with rebound.
No harm, no foul.
O'Malley battling. Loose ball picked up by Sherman. Minute left in this ball game. And a turnover. 53 seconds left.
We'll get a close one here yet. I know we will. That clock is going to come into play someday. Actually, I heard the buzzer work for the first time here today. It went after the gun went off, but
there's a steal by Kleeman, then a foul. 44 seconds left.
Actually, we hope that doesn't have to come into play, actually.
Yes.
I would hate to.
No foul. Stepped on the line.
No foul there either.
No, Kleeman with the steal. 40 seconds left. No foul. Sherman missed. McDonald the rebound.
I think you're going to have to literally mug somebody to get a foul right at this time. Oh, we did get a mugging.
24 seconds left. Shelly Sorensen picks up the foul.
We're not going to the free throw line, though.
No, neither team reached the bonus in the second half. Just 11 fouls called in the half.
Oh, yes, they did. I'll take that back.
No, that was their 7th. Okay. I have them for 6, so.
You may want to talk to you about
I think
that.
I missed one. I think I might have missed one there.
At the line, number 15, Andrea Johansson, 1 and 1.
And Andrea Johansson with her first tournament points.
Yeah, that's always a big thrill, and Andrea is only a junior.
Second one off the mark. McDonald had a chance at it. .20 seconds left. York leads 60-34. Shot missed by Mankin. And we get a foul.
First girls game of the year we did was York and Marshwood.
Yep.
The last girls game of the year we'll do for Class B will be York and Marshwood. The Class B finals will be, state finals will be held by MPBN, I believe, so we won't be able to do that game. But, is it good? Yes.
And they did score it. They did score it. I believe it was Shelley Sorensen who scored the basket. And that makes the final score 60-36. The Wildcats come up with a 24-point victory over the Rams.
And they didn't put it up on the board, but we counted it, and I guess that's all that really matters. But the York Wildcats, they really, really played very well. They did everything. They executed extremely well, and I think they knew that they had to play well to beat Kennebunk. They had to play much better than they did in the first game, and that they did. They played very, very well. They did just about everything you could ask. Defensive was super. They did a great job on the boards. They executed offensively much, much better. And Kristen Briggs, just a super, super effort. I thought she played the game of the year as far as I was concerned.
The scoring summary. Kennebunk was led by Liz Vickers' 19, Allison Booth had 6, Leanne Mai with 4, Karen Harvey with 3, and Shannon Menken and Tracy McDonald with 2, as the band sticking around for the second half, as the boys will be playing a little later on tonight. Andrew Little led York with 18 points, Joanna Brown with 11, Kristen Briggs with 10, Laura Coughlin had 7, Jonna Weaver and Kathleen Byrne with 4, Jessica Martell 3, Stacy Kennedy 2, and Andrea Johansson 1. So the Wildcats, for the 6th time in 10 years under head coach Rick Clark, will advance to the Western Maine final. They are 1-4 in Western Maine finals. They made it in 83, 86, 87, 89, and 90. So actually, they have made it for the 5th time, Bob, in the last 7 years, and that is quite a tribute to Rick Clark and the York girls program.
Well, but the only thing is you can't look at experience being that much on their favor, because they're going up against another team in Marshwood that also has that experience. Last year went to the state championship. The year before, I believe they went to the Western Maine final. This is an experienced Marshwood team that we're looking at also. So it should be a very exciting ball game, a big rivalry. I know that both of these teams were looking forward to that game. They didn't look past their opponents. They played the games one at a time, but now it has come to fruition. It's number 1, number 2. It should be an exciting ball game, and I think it should be a much better game than the first time we saw these two teams. For our sake, I certainly hope so.
York did beat Marshwood twice during the season. The only 2 losses the Hawks suffered. The final score in the semifinal round game, York defeats Kennebunk 60-36. For Steve Twombly and Bob Gould, I'm Eric Nelson. We'll see you at the Western Maine final, everybody. Good night.